Hello, Emotions companions, and welcome to week 4, Embracing Emotions, God's Gifts for Thriving, the Fear Family. Woohoo! Fear Family! The Fear Family is our largest family. It has 6 members, and those are fear, anxiety, confusion, jealousy, envy, and panic. This is the family that it seems like there is, or at least in my memory, the most often referred to in terms of faith contexts, of which basically boils down to have faith, don't be afraid, have faith. This family, fear, anxiety, panic, well, I couldn't name panic, but fear, just feeling afraid, a long time familiar companion, familiar and deeply unwanted. And growing up in a church where basically it was don't be afraid, just have faith, which implied that if you're afraid that you didn't have faith, and the people who are valued are the ones who do have faith, shame contract, it just pushed it down even deeper. So, in this journey with emotions, anger was the one that God used to invite me in. And I got introduced to the language of emotions materials. I read the book by myself several times through, knew I needed other companions, signed up for this 4-month course. And in that course, I remember someone saying that they became aware that what they always had thought about as just being anxious was actually panic. And that stuck with me, and it stirred something in me. Well, several months later, I joined the Language of Emotions. The name of the community is actually Dynamic Emotional Integration. This cohort to become a trainer because I just absolutely knew I needed companions on this journey, and this was the only way to have a companion. So, in the midst of the trainers cohort, when we got to the section on the fear family, I remember one day in the middle of a Zoom, it just kind of came over me of just how much I live with panic. It's not just a little anxious, but panic. And I said that to the community. I said, I've become aware that I really live with panic almost all the time, either just very low grade managed or not so managed. And Carla leaned into the camera and she said, "That is awesome." And I remember like, "What?" And she continued and said, "Because that is your gateway into healing." At that moment, I wasn't really sure whether I really believed her. but I wanted to believe her. I had tried everything else I knew how to do. And I really wanted to believe her. That being present to my panic, which began with naming it, would indeed be the gateway to the healing I had so long sought. And so on that day, something shifted in me a bit, where I dared to believe, not because I could really believe it, but I was willing to take a risk and to put my weight on her belief that this would indeed be a gateway into deep healing. And part of what gave me confidence to take this risk was knowing her story. That she did not come to all this emotions material that she's developed as a researcher, as someone just kind of looking and trying to evaluate. And not that there's anything wrong with that. We absolutely need great scientists and researchers. But she really came to this out of her own story and her own experience of having been unwillingly inducted into the tribe of molested as a child, and of needing to make her way through all of what that meant. So on that day, I embraced my panic as well as I could, resting in the witness of this other person and also of a number of other people in that community at the time. And so I just want to bear witness to you this day that indeed panic, fear, anxiety, confusion, jealousy, envy, they have all been part of leading into a place of deep healing. And panic, with all of its energy, intense and always present when there's trauma, has been a chief propellant into this land of reintegration, of wholeness, of healing. Welcome to week 4, the Fear Family.